Mr. Vice President, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate
Delight to be here. I wish I was there in person.
it. So do we. So I want to start off with something obviously that everyone is talking about, the COVID-19 pandemic. You have criticized President Trump and the White House in terms of their response. So I guess what do you think should have happened?
Well, what should have happened was, look, we're paying the price of complacency here. All the way back in January, the president was made aware that this was coming. There was a serious problem. As a matter of fact, I think it was on the 27th of January, after he said China is being transparent, doing a great job, et cetera. I said that I wrote a piece for the USA Today saying that we have a real problem and it's about to come. We better get ready for it. President has walked away from it, said that we didn't have a problem. Heat is going to take care of everything. It's going to go away like a miracle, et cetera. You have got to level with the American people. You got to tell them the truth. They're tough. They can take the truth. And so he waited literally months and months before he began to act. And now he's acting in the White House because people have gotten the virus near him, which is reasonable to worry about it, and the vice president. But he's telling everybody else to open up. He's saying, that he's talking about, liberate Michigan and, all those kinds of things. So I just think the president has to get his act together. He has to take responsibility. He's president of the United States, and he has to acknowledge it his responsibility to organize this effort.
When we talk about the COVID-19 pandemic, we're obviously doing this interview over Zoom. I imagine you've been doing a lot of your campaigning kind of virtually and remotely. So how is that going?
Well, I'd much rather be out, but our governor has a shelter-in-place order here in the state. I'm obeying that order. I have a lot of Secret Service agents outside as a presidential nominee. I don't walk outside without my mask, and all of them have been tested. I have not yet. We're getting recommendations from the docs as to how we proceed in terms of my home from this point on. But, what's going on right now is that we've had 112 million views of events like we're doing now, roundtables as well, and major programs and interviews with local serious people like you. And so it hadn't seemed to slow down the ability to be able to get an awful lot done. And based on the outcome of all the national polling data, we seem to be doing very well. And matter of fact, in a bizarre way, the president, the more he's out there, the more he hurts himself, I think. But I'm anxious to get out. I'm anxious to be able to see people face to face again.
Yeah, I was curious. I was going to ask you, in terms of the fact that everything is being done online versus in person, if you think that was negatively impacting the campaign at all.
Well, there's no evidence of that. The evidence is that we keep going up in the polls, not down in the polls. The recent polls that you saw show us beating Trump nationally by about 10 points, 50-40. I think that was the last one. I think that's a Harris poll. Don't hold me to that exactly. And in states that are not even the frontline states like Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, et cetera, which we're doing very well. In states, there are 6 states where they're Republican governors Republican senators from across the board, 6 of them, and we're winning. We're winning by an average of 8 points. I think it's 8 points in each of those states, and we have a chance of winning those places where there are 6 sitting Republican United States senators, of which the president won 4 states. We're ahead in those states too. Now, again, I'm not making the case that means determines the outcome, but thus far, there is no evidence that the president, us having to do it this way, has cost us in terms of political support.
When we talk about here in Nevada, as you know, Senator Bernie Sanders won the Nevada caucus. So into the summer, the fall, the general election, what are you doing to try to bring those supporters into the fold to back you in November?
Well, the good news is that Bernie has robustly endorsed me. We've set up joint committees together to deal with how we would deal with everything from the virus all the way down to education, the criminal justice system, the new Green Deal, et cetera. And we've got overwhelming support. I mean, we're more united today than almost every single person who competed in the primary is now wholeheartedly endorsing me, campaigning around the country for me, using their digital media to promote our campaign. and I'm working with Bernie and with his people. And so, and we've made some changes. We've listened to the Bernie supporters. And, you know, for example, we have, you know, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez. She is on one of the panels as well. And so I think we're going to have a very united party. And my message to all, and what they're finding out now that the nomination process is de facto over, they're finding out the positions I had on an awful lot of things were not accurately characterized, and they're feeling more comfortable with it. But I'm listening. I'm here. I need them, and I hope they all will join us.
Speaking of campaigning, I want to turn to something that we have been that's been in the spotlight on the campaign trail here, talking about Tara Reade and her allegation of sexual assault. I want to get your response to that, as well as I know Reade has called for you to drop out of the race. Your response to that as well.
Well, number one, I think every woman has a right to be heard. Number one, I defend that right. Number two, that, and I don't think that they should be attacked for stepping forward. I'm not questioning her motive. What I can tell you is, at the end of the day, truth matters. And the truth is, this never happened, period. And the more that is investigated by independent reporters and the like, I think it's going to demonstrate that I am telling the truth. It never happened.